Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a video to compare the Logitech G903 Lightspeed with the Logitech G502 Lightspeed. These are two premium gaming mice from Logitech that include similar features, roughly the same price, but slightly different designs that make them stand apart. They are both also fantastic mice, and I have unboxed and given an overview / review of both these mice separately, so please check out the links in the description if you want to see those videos and close-ups of each of the mice in a bit more depth on them. But this video will cover the main differences between the two and talk to you about the highlights and lowlights of them. The G502 that you can see here is a right-handed gaming mouse. You'll note the thumb rest on the left-hand side is an obvious way to differentiate it from the 903. Both mice though have sideways clickable mouse wheel, up to 11 programmable buttons. They also have G shift capabilities, meaning you can program up to 2 commands per button, so you can theoretically have up to 22 different buttons on there, which is pretty nuts. They both have customizable weight systems. They're also designed to be lightweight and agile. They're also designed to be used in both wireless and wired mode. And they sport some pretty decent battery life. The G502 has the better of the two, which is up to 60 hours of battery life with no RGB lighting turned on, while the 903 has up to 32 hours. Both very good batteries. As you can see, they both have this G logo housing underneath that allows you to install some extra weight, and I'll go into that in a bit more depth in a minute. As I said, they're both multi-button mice. You can see here they have DPI switching buttons on top, sideways clickable mouse wheel. They both come with a nifty little box that contains the extra weight system, as well as 2.4 GHz wireless dongle. And you'll note there's an adapter here too that you can use to plug in the cable from your PC to then extend that wireless dongle, but also make it really easy to access on your desk if that's something you're into. G502, you can see, has side buttons that are easy access for your thumb. It includes a DPI switching button, like a sniper button, similar to the Corsair ones on the side. And that gives you easy access to a low DPI setting, as well as a number of other DPI buttons and easy access buttons too. They both have this angry looking micro USB charging cable. Interestingly, on the G502 you can plug in for 5 minutes of charge and get up to 2.5 hours of extra boost out of it, which is pretty nifty. Both these mice also support Logitech's POWERPLAY system. Now, POWERPLAY is a wireless charging mat that essentially means you never need to plug the mouse in because it constantly gets power from the mouse mat. Unfortunately, it's not something I've tested, but it is a pretty neat system. It is an additional purchase though. As I said, both these mice come with this adapter. Micro USB, so the standard micro USB cable plugs into your PC and then into the adapter, and then you can basically extend the range of the wireless dongle, but also just put it on your desk as an easy way to get a hold of it. And then you can obviously unplug that and plug the wire in when you need to charge the mouse, which, as you can gather from the specifications, is not very often. The battery life is pretty decent on these mice. It lasts for quite a long while. The G502 has the superior of the two, but I've been using the 903 for quite a while, quite regularly, without having to plug it in and charge it too, which is also very nice. The standard 2.4 GHz dongle is fairly tiny and probably a bit too easy to lose. As I said, the G502 and the 903 both come with this little carry case that has the wireless controller. You'll note the 502 has numerous different weights in it, and I'll talk to you in a bit more depth about those in a second. But it's nice to have that little carry case so you can store things when they're not in use and keep everything neat within one place without having to put it in a wire drawer or something. The underside of the G903, you can see here, has a power button, a profile switching button, and the housing for the weight system. You can have up to 5 different profiles on board on this mouse, and I also include a bit more depth about that and the software in the unboxing review, so be sure to check that out. Now, underneath the housing here, you can pull that off to then add in the extra weight that comes with it. You get a 10-gram weight with the G903. This, as standard, the mouse is 110 grams without the weight, and then you can add that extra one in to give it a bit more heft if you prefer a slightly weightier mouse. Both these mice are meant to be lightweight and agile, but you then have the flexibility to adjust that weight to your preference. There's far less options on the G903 though. As I said, the G502 gets more, and you'll see that in a second, but adding that weight in is really easy, and that's just held in place with a magnet, so it's dead easy to do. You can just take that housing off, pop the weight in, and then put it back on. The G502 Lightspeed, in the meanwhile, has up to 16 grams of extra weights in here. You can see the little 4-gram weights here. As standard, the mouse weighs 114 grams, and then you can obviously pick and choose which of those weights you add in. And again, it's a simple case of removing the cover and then adding the weights into that cover and then popping it back in, and you can basically put them in that housing. You'll also note underneath that G logo cover, you can also install the little dongle when you're not using it, so it's another place to put it if you want to take it with you somewhere. So if you're going to use the mouse out and about, if you want to take it away with you, then you can do that, and then and therefore you're not going to mislay it and lose it. You can see a little notch to plop it in there when it's not in use. Another highlight of these mice is the ability to adjust the way the scroll wheel works. So they both come with like this hyper fast scroll wheel. It basically has 2 different settings on it. One setting is you have a tactile response where it makes a noise and you can feel the vibrations of every click as you roll the scroll wheel. It's quite a satisfying but also loud design. The alternative is you press that button near the wheel, and then that puts it into a hyper fast mode where it basically scrolls infinitely and very satisfying way, like a little hamster wheel. It spins and spins and spins and just keeps going. And both the 903 and the 502 have a similar design there, and you can click between them. If you like this sort of design, it's worth checking out the Razer Basilisk Ultimate, which also has a similar thing to it, except that one's infinitely adjustable with a little scroll wheel underneath where you can adjust the resistance that you get from the mouse wheel, which is pretty neat. But I really like the Logitech design to it. Now, the G903, as I said, is an ambidextrous mouse that has customizable buttons. So on the right hand side, as standard, you have a blanking plate in there that you can then remove, and it's just held in place with magnets, and you can then add in 2 extra buttons. And this is how you get the total of 11 buttons, and that means you can then have buttons on both the right and the left hand side. And as a right-handed gamer, I found that I was unfortunately squeezing those a bit too much because I find this mouse is a bit narrow. However, if you get used to it, you've then got access to a multitude of buttons on both sides and you can customize it the way you want it. However, it does mean that as a left-handed gamer, you can change it up and put the blanking plate on one side and you have the buttons where you want them, or vice versa. Or you can have no buttons on the sides, or you could have all the buttons on the sides. So it gives you a real customization option on the 903 that you don't get on the 502. The 502 doesn't have any buttons on the right hand side. They're all on the left, and it's very much a right-handed gamer mouse. The 903 is a lot more ambidextrous and a lot more flexible. They both have the same amount of programmable buttons in that there are 11 total. The layout is just ever so slightly different. As you'll see, you have basically 2 on the left hand side and 2 on the right on the 903. On the 502 you have a lot more on the left hand side and within access of your thumb if you're a right-handed gamer. Then obviously the button count includes the DPI switching buttons and the mouse wheel adjustment button and the right left click on that as well. The 502 that you can see here has those sort of 3 easy access thumb buttons, and the 2 on top near the left mouse click button, that is a DPI adjustment levels, and you can see the little DPI indicator lets you know what levels of DPI you're on currently. Obviously you can adjust all that within the Logitech G software, the G HUB software, and change what those buttons do. As I said, you also have that sniper button, which is down the bottom, that allows you to drop into a much lower DPI setting, and you can customize that all within the software as well. So you can really customize these mice the way you want them, and the ability to switch between different profiles also means you can set out to use in different games too. I'll leave all the specifications in the description so you can get an idea of the technical differences between these mice, but you can see from a feature perspective they're quite a bit different. The 502 has a lot more battery life and is perhaps more comfortable to use thanks to the thumb rests. If you're a right-handed gamer, you perhaps get a bit more space. They're both narrow and quite angry looking, but they're also both very agile and very good in terms of the connectivity with the wireless dongle. They connect really well, there's no lag, they're accurate and very fun to use and very comfortable, very smooth underneath, fast and agile gaming mice. I've enjoyed using both of them. 502 would definitely be my preference as a right-handed gamer. I really like having easy access to multiple thumb buttons and being able to have a nice thumb rest on there as well. And you can also see the textured grip designs to it. And obviously having up to 60 hours of battery life out of the 502 makes it more appealing. But as I said, both are POWERPLAY compatible, so if you make that extra purchase and get yourself a POWERPLAY mat, then you can keep them going and going and going without needing to plug in. When you do need to plug in though, it's pretty hassle free, and you've got the braided cable, which means it doesn't catch on the desk and it's pretty smooth and reactive. Now you see the 903 here has the same sort of DPI indicator on the top. Both these light zones along with the G logo is seen as the RGB lighting, so you essentially only have 2 RGB zones per mouse, both of which is the G logo and the DPI lighting. It's obviously in slightly different positions on either mouse, and having that off gives you the maximum amount of battery life. Otherwise they're pretty fantastic bits of kit. Hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting or hilarious. Be sure to subscribe and check out these other videos, as well as taking a look in the description for links and other information you might find useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or anything you'd like to see extra about this, and have a great life.